Listen up.
You are now listening to Inside the Nation Radio, brought to you by us, bringing you everything from current events to what's really happening in your bedroom. Turn up the volume.
Turn me up.
And let's discuss.
All right. Inside the Nation back and live in effect with new co-hosts, Darash, Tierra, and Tasha. We back and we live. I've been getting the messages. I've been getting all the emails, even phone calls saying, we bringing the show back. Well, we back now. And we got a lot to talk about today. Hey, but before we start, you know what I'm saying? What's going on to the co-host? Darash, how you been, bro?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Man, I'm here. Tierra, Tasha, what's going on?
I'm good. Just happy to be here.
That's what's up. Hey, man, we're going to jump right into it. Because I know everybody been talking about it. It's news. It's out there. And it's extremely unfortunate of the news that came out this morning about one of the rappers. And I typically don't even listen to music no more. Like, I don't follow the rap music of today's time. You know, if I do listen to something, it's way back when. But I was familiar with the Migos. I didn't know all of the guys separately, but Takeoff, I didn't know them, really, because I wasn't that familiar with all of their music, but I know there's Takeoff and Quavo and Offset. And unfortunately, man, we hear Takeoff, lost his life this morning. Unfortunately, may the Most High have, mercy on his soul, but that's a really, really unfortunate and disturbing, situation. I just recently, I woke up and I'm like, oh man, what's going on? And I read it. I think, was he like a dice game? What was going on with the situation? You guys figured that one out?
Yeah. I believe it was after like a Halloween party, but it was a dice game. They said he wasn't even participating in the dice game. He was just kind of there, kind of just chilling and keeping to himself. And they're saying that the bullets were not meant for him, but they hit him.
So these are stray bullets that hit him. This be the problem I be talking about a lot of times. All right. As a lot of y'all know, I'm a former police officer, paramedic, police officer, did all that, right? And a lot of the shootings that we dealt with were not meant for the people that got shot. Hey, we always talk about, man, I spray this. That's literally, when somebody tell you they'll spray it up, that's literally what they're going to do is spray it up, because they're not aiming. Everybody can shoot a gun, but everybody can't hit their target. And this is the unfortunate situation we be seeing a lot of times, man. It's like most people who are being shot at are not the ones being, actually shot. So you're telling me he wasn't even a part of the dice game?
No. The pictures that we seen, he was kind of just like standing around. And like, I don't think an official report has come out as to exactly what went down, but from the people who were there are saying he was not even participating. He wasn't in no beefs or nothing. He was kind of just there hanging out and chilling, and he lost his life.
Wow. I'm hearing, social media is social media. Okay. And whenever something happens, social media is going to say something about it in a social media way. And what I'm seeing now is it's maybe it was a sacrifice, and all these other things are coming out, conspiracy theories. And let's be real. Let's not act like these things don't happen in the world that we don't live in. We know these things at some degree, whether we have all the facts or not, they do take place. But is there enough detail or enough information for us to be saying that already?
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah, like we don't even know who actually. Do they know who actually pulled the trigger?
Well, they said the security guard that was, I guess, on the scene said they just started shooting. They don't know who the shooter was. They said it was a dice game going on, and all of a sudden they just started to hear gunshots. Nobody knows where it came from, but they just know that they just started shooting. That's all the information they have thus far.
That's horrible.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like anything too official has been put out there, because I read someone said he was participating in the dice game. Then they got upset because someone in his group or his group got upset because he was losing. And then someone from his group started to shoot and it was like friendly fire. Then he got hit. But then I don't know how true that is if he was standing around.
So
And that's what the pictures show.
it's just stories upon stories at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because from what I
Basically.
read, there's no arrests have been made, correct? Or am I missing something?
Not since this morning when I read the report or what I had read thus far this morning, there was nothing as far as any arrests being made. At that time, they were still trying to figure out the only person that at the time that I had read about was the security guard. He was the one that was there and he was like, I don't know who started the shooting.
Wow.
Which is convenient and both interesting because there's a lot of people standing around. How does nobody know who started shooting? You can't. How do you miss that? So
yeah.
Personally, I think it's more to it, but we'll see. But I think the timing of it is impeccable.
Right. Hey, somebody pulled out a gun, somebody started shooting, but guess what? 50 people here and not one person saw who started the argument? Who was arguing at least? Because 9 times out of 10, the people involved in the argument may have escalated to the shooting. So at least we should have some type of suspects in this situation. But for nobody to know anything, that in itself is suspicious to me. You know what I mean? But here's now with this unfortunate situation, because realistically, this man was extremely young. He was 28. He still had a full life to live.
Right.
A full life to live. And so does this mean, like, when we get to a point of or a level of success, we need to start separating ourselves, right? But you become the sellout when you do that, right? Oh, you don't do nothing for your hood, and you don't do this, and you don't do that. Now, I get it. Now, if you got people you grew up with and people was always there, you're not going to, just cut them off if they're not that bad type of company that you're trying to get rid of. But in a lot of situations, and I think it was Master P, I heard say this, you can't stay in your own hood. You got to leave. You got to leave. And if you don't, we see what's been happening. All of these rappers are dying. Like, it's just, it's so crazy that how so many of these rappers, does this not go back to what Kanye was talking about? Does this not trickle back into that situation?
This is literally what it is. Because when you look at hip hop music, that was the point that he was making. He said, if you pull up the first 3 songs, that's all you gonna hear. And that's literally all you hear. And that's literally all that we advertise and promote. And a lot of those artists are not doing these things themselves, but they're promoting it. And what they don't understand is that the average consumer takes that, internalizes that, and in turn starts to act these things out. You got gangster rap, which created a lot of gangsters. You got all of this rap about shooting and killing, and you got a lot of people out here just going out murdering, robbing, flocking, all of that stuff. And it's literally off of the music that they've been listening to. That's what gives them.
With that being said,
the battery in their
back. Just said, that's a perfect example. It's off the music you listen to. I know y'all remember the Tupac and Biggie beef. Now, there was an interview that Biggie had. And he stated that he bumped into Tupac and he asked, man, what's going on with all this? And Pac made the statement, according to what I watched, allegedly, Tupac made the statement that, man, it's all love. We're just making money. This is what we do. Like, it ain't no real beef, right? And so when I was listening to that song, the album Life After Death, when he said, been in this since 92, so-called beef with you-know-who. And when I heard him say so-called beef, I remembered that interview. Like, oh, see, this makes sense to me now. This ain't even real. It's like the politicians. Well, they fighting each other every day, but yet they at the barbecues together. You know what I mean? Pushing each other's agendas, right? So, but the problem is when you got Pac and you got Big, and it appears to really be beefing on the surface level. And let's say they're really not, because I don't know the details. None of us was there. But according to the pieces that we could put together, it really wasn't a real beef, at least to my understanding. But guess who don't understand that?
Your average consumer, the listeners.
Right.
The public.
Right. And that's why if you're from New York, now you can't go to Cali. If you're from Cali, you can't go to New York. And now all this stuff starting to happen because they taking this to heart. They taking this stuff to heart. What was that?
I said it's all manipulation. It's like they put it into the music to basically control the masses. And I think that gangster music has a lot to do with the climate in a lot of our neighborhoods. Because I don't know if you've ever been out somewhere in a bar or something and a certain song comes on, all of a sudden there's a fight. When the energy was cool until a certain song came
It
on
changes
about
the
different.
energy for sure.
Exactly. Next thing you know, somebody's fighting and somebody's shooting. It's starting to seem like it's very intentional what they're doing.
Right.
Of course,
right.
there's no other genre that does this, that promotes it.
Zero.
There
Country
are two
music don't do that.
things- There are two things that sell in the entertainment industry: sex and controversy, and they understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. And like Tasha said, there are. We don't see this. We don't see this in Achy Breaky Heart. You know what I'm saying? We don't see Garth Brooks over there trying some. You know, I'm a this and that bleep to bleep that. You know,
Right.
we don't see that, but that's here. And so again, is that not what Kanye was talking about? So
That's
why
exactly what Kanye was talking about.
exactly what he's talking about? So here's my disappointment. So I was watching. Y'all familiar with Roland Martin? He used to be on CNN, anchor on CNN.
Yes, yes.
So I'm watching his show, and you know, I like Roland Martin. You know, he's a very intelligent man and a brother, but I find myself at certain points disagreeing with him. And he was talking about the Kanye situation, and the Kanye situation, as I said, it perfectly relates to the Offset situation because he said it's the music and it actually influences us, how we act and how we respond. And so while he was talking about the Kanye situation on his show, Roland Martin, he talked about the clip when Kanye stated that I can make anti-Semitic remarks and Adidas cannot drop me. Right? Here's the crazy part about that. Actually, we got the clip, right? We're gonna play it. Kanye said I can make anti-Semitic statements and Adidas cannot drop me. Now, here's my disappointment in Roland Martin is that I said it was a clip for a reason because he must have only watched a single clip because he didn't understand what Kanye was saying. Now, I'm gonna be real with you. I don't agree with everything Kanye say, right? But with that being said, I think Kanye really dropped some gold and platinum nuggets a lot of times that be so deep it go over a lot of people's heads, and you got to really think about what he's saying. You know, he got this may not sound right, but sometimes he may have to even dumb his speech down for the average Joe to understand what he's talking about. You know, but let me play that clip real quick. And this is what Roland Martin was trying to cover on his show, which to me he got all wrong. Let's check this out.
Yeah. You're owning that.
Okay, now
but you're not saying anti-Semitic.
I'm gonna say,
things.
let's take the word Semitic, right, and say we're Jew. Semitic. I'm gonna name you some anti-Semitic shit right now, right? Because we're Jew. Let me put it like this. Remember I talked about the chakras? Remember I talked about Rick Rubin? I talked about the 808?
The chakras is real.
Now, I'm gonna say some anti-Semitic shit. I'ma fuck your bitch. I'ma kill this nigga. 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 That's the real anti-Semitic shit that the Jewish people get paid off of.
Now, with that being said, what he was saying went over a lot of people's heads. Now, we got to piece the puzzles together, right? And we're not going into religion. We're just talking about a topic. But when we stop and think about not just religion, but history, right? We have to stop and put these small points together and see what Kanye's really saying to understand what he's saying. Because when he was saying, I can kill this and I can kill this, what music would we hear that in? Tasha said earlier, it's only one genre of music.
It's hip hop.
That's hip hop.
Yeah, that's it.
It's rap.
So when he was saying, I could say anti-Semitic stuff, he's like, all right, here's the anti-Semitic stuff I'm about to say. He was stating that actually the hip hop music that talks about degrading our people and harming our people, that's anti-Semitic. But why would that be anti-Semitic? Because we all know he's already said it openly, plainly already, is that Kanye states that the black man and woman in America is the real Jew that's spoken about in the Bible. Now, don't run. Now, we're not finna make this a biblical conversation, but we do want to, So here's the thing. So I was talking to Tasha earlier, and I was saying this, and y'all chime in whenever, that we gotta stop acting like the things that are being brought out are being pulled out of the clear blue sky, as if there are no historical information or documentation. Not only information and documentation by us, but by white people, white men and women have documented this. So no one woke up one day and said, hey, like Kanye didn't just wake up and say this out of the blue. Now, if at the end of the day you still don't agree, okay, cool. You don't have to agree. I have a different opinion. I don't really see it that way. That's cool. That's fine. That's dandy. But let's stop pretending like he's just making this stuff up out of the clear blue sky. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
I agree. And it's crazy because when you the things that Kanye has looked into, like you said, white people have said it, Jewish people have said it. They have many what do they call them, rabbis? There's a particular rabbi, his name is, I believe, Harry Rosenberg.
Right.
And he had a whole speech on that. He talked about the Jews that are in West Africa, and then he connected it to the African Americans who are now identifying as quote unquote Jewish. And he said, so the question is, are they just making up something to try to have some type of identity, or is there really something there? And the answer is there maybe is really something there, and maybe they are the original Jews, and maybe we came later.
I saw that.
So the thing is, if you have a number of people, even those that are Semitic, that are saying, yo, this holds some merit, this is true. When Kanye says it, why, instead of, if you feel like he's wrong, then say, I feel that you're wrong, and bring the proof. You guys would do that with anything else, but if a topic like this comes up, it's like we're just going to discredit this individual. We're going to drag his name through the mud, say he's going crazy. We're going to take away his endorsements and all of these other things. It's like, look, if he's really doing something that's so wrong, just prove that it's wrong.
Right. Look, I'm gonna read something real quick. This is the definition of the word Semitic, and I'm reading from the Merriam-Webster, right? Merriam-Webster. It says, of relating to or constituting a subfamily of the Afro-Asiatic language. That includes Hebrew, Aramaic, Arabic. So it's not like he's, again, if you don't agree with it, that's but this goes back, and this is why we're going to see when he was saying I can say anti-Semitic stuff, that he wasn't referring to the Jewish community. He was actually referring to the black community. And so because his belief is that we are Semitic. So when I put music out that talks about degrading our women and talking about killing our men, that's anti-Semitic. We have to stop with the understanding that there's only one group of people that are Semitic. There's actually a list of people that are Semitic. You know, there's a group, different groups of people that are Semitic, but for some reason the world has come to the understanding that only the Jewish are Semitic. No, there's a group of people that are Semitic. The Arabians, like we just read, the Aramaic, that's Semitic. You know. So we got to stop with that notion. And until we actually stop and open our eyes, be like, you know what? Let's at least look at this and examine it. We're going to keep going around. This side going to have what they think. That side's going to have what they think. But nobody's ever going to look up this information and see that it's actually factual.
But when you look at what we're taught in schools, we're not taught this history. So people are originally going to think, oh, no, that is not it. And then when you look at how we're treated, just, you know, as a group of people, we've been taught that we're less than. Every other nation treats us as we're less than. So it's no way we could ever see ourselves relating to any Semitics, but they
Yeah.
do that intentionally because they're profiting off of us.
And,
We're
and
the
see, and
group.
that's what he stated,
Mhm.
the prophet. That was the point that Kanye said about that. And even at the end of that clip, we say these things, but who really makes the most money off of it? We say all these things, but there's one group of
Right.
people that make the most money off of it, and it's not us. Any
Never
of you
us.
guys familiar with Cornelius Tacitus? Like Cornelius Tacitus,
Yes.
he's
Yes.
a Roman historian, right? And a Roman historian and a Roman senator. This guy. What did he say? Now, this is a white male. So this is just one example of a historian and a senator from Rome, a white male, who said the same exact thing that Kanye said. He said the same exact thing that Kanye said. So again, I'm not here to make this case that, hey, we the real Jews and all this type of stuff. That's not what we're doing. So let me make that perfectly clear. You know, the point is, like I said before, even if you don't believe it, even if you don't agree with it, let's stop pretending like this stuff is just falling out of the clear blue sky or we're just making this stuff up. There are points in history.
Right.
There are
Right.
information, documentation. There's history that we can look at to show why we may even think this, even if it's wrong. Let's just say, all right, hypothetically, we're wrong. But don't act like we're making it up. Don't act like it's not believable. You know, we have to, that's what we have to stop doing. And until we do that, we go, oh, Kanye's crazy. You know, that's foolishness.
It's crazy because I've had this conversation since the whole Kanye fiasco. I think I've had this conversation 3 times, right? Like 3 separate times. Man, y'all heard what Kanye was saying. Oh my God, he's going crazy. Da, 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 right? I'm
Right.
like, now here's the thing. I don't agree with everything Kanye said. I said, but to sit here and say that he's going crazy when he's had a number of interviews with smaller platforms on like YouTube and stuff, and he's walking you through the things that people are doing to him because of what he said.
Right.
And you're defaming his character, and he's going crazy, he's doing this, he's doing that. This man's bringing receipts.
Receipts.
This man's bringing proof. Like,
But-
he can't be going that crazy.
And he's not even the first celebrity to say it. So I could see if he was the first and they'd never heard it before. But over the years, we've heard it multiple times.
You know what it is, though, Ahaba? He's unapologetic. Everyone else has apologized. Everyone else has stopped saying anything about it. He's the only one. He lost 1.6. He was worth $2 billion. Over the span of a week, he lost 1.6 and is now worth $400 million. And he said, I don't care.
And you know what?
And that's what's killing them right now.
Right. And what's suspect about that to me, because now there's reports of P. Diddy has just jumped into the billionaire status club. So if this is true, now, this is alleged. This is alleged. You know, who knows? This is alleged. You know, I don't know. So P. Diddy is jumping into the billionaire status club. Coincidentally, after Kanye falls or is snatched from it, and he has some, it's speculated that he has something to do with, the rumors and the discussions and the talk and things of that nature. But going back to Takeoff, this is what Kanye was trying to relay to people, that the mindset that we are in when you go to that Apple Music. The first thing you're not going to hear is Garth Brooks talking about going over and shooting, I don't know, Dolly Parton or somebody. You're not going to hear nothing like that, but you will hear, I'm going to kill this and that's what you're going to hear. And that is, in his words, that is anti-Semitic.
And here's the irony in that, right? There are so many artists that are amazing, lyrically amazing, messages amazing, positivity in the music. It's not what did Nipsey said, it. This ain't that weirdo rap you mothers used to.
Right.
It's more complex. And these are the ones that can't get a deal. These are the ones that are being left underground. They have to, it's almost like a grassroots situation when they're building themselves up. They can't get on radio. They don't get on radio. You get to know them because they're promoting themselves on their own social media and on their own dollar. And these are the same individuals that talk about, they'll be rapping about positivity. They'll be rapping about what's the word? Elevation, innovation, unity, right? And these individuals are all just kind of like, we're just going to, place you over there. We're not going to, nope. There's no record label that's trying to give these types of individuals a deal. And if they do, they give them a deal. They record maybe an album and then they get shelved.
No radio play. That's right.
Right.
Yeah, you don't get no radio play.
Now that brings us to this next clip. Let's check out this next clip. Now, for those of you who are going to watch this show and then be like, "Oh, you guys are thinking you Jews," and it's not what we're saying. It's not what we're saying. But what we are saying is, you're not required to believe that. But let's not act like, I really want to beat this dead horse because, people, y'all know people don't listen. Mm-hmm. This is the only point in history where telling the truth about history has become a crime. This is the only point in history that if you tell the truth about history, it has become a crime. So all I'm saying is, look at the facts. And if you, or look at the evidence, if you don't want to say it's facts. And if you don't agree at the end of the day, that's fine. But just please don't pretend like people are inventing this information out of the thin blue sky. Mm-hmm. Now, again, there's a book called The Black Image and the White Mind. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of research and history inside of that book. And it was written in the 1800s. And guess what? It was written by a white man. This wasn't our doing. And guess what? And his point in that book was to research and find the origins of the different races. But guess what he found, at least to his understanding, guess what he came across? Well, in his research, he found that the black people in America was actually, to his understanding, the same people who were enslaved in Egypt, in ancient Egypt, and lived in Goshen. Well, that's a major discovery, if anything, right? Because, again, I want to stress the fact, it wasn't a black guy who found this. This was back in the 1800s. Well,
be careful, because some people will sit there and say that never even happened.
Right? Yeah, that's true. But
that happens too.
And that's the sad part, that instead of just looking at what's really in front of you as far as evidence and information and documentation, instead of looking at these things, and when we don't have an answer, we just erase it. Like I gave the example of Cornelius Tacitus. That was a Roman historian, a Roman senator. And even he stated according to his words, and you can look this up. It's what I like to call Googleable. It's my term. This is Googleable, right? You can get on and Google this. Look up what Cornelius Tacitus says about black Jews. Now, this is another white male. And the list goes on and on and on and on, right? So my point in saying that is this: let's not pretend like people are making this stuff up and that these things are not, there's no evidence. There's evidence. Right. And if you don't believe it, okay, cool. But
there's
as you said
there's so much evidence. Like, let's not act like this does not have any merit. It's crazy.
And that's the problem that's bugging me the most. We act like there's no merit to it. Like, I'm okay with you disagreeing. I'm okay with you saying, okay, listen, I looked at the information and what you're saying, I still don't agree. As long as I know you at least look at the information and say, hey, no, we have a difference of opinion. Hey, okay, now I will consider this anti-Semitic or hate speech if you continue to, because I did give it a fair shake. I checked it out and I just don't see it. Okay, cool. At least you did that much. But the problem is 90% of the people following this right now never looked into anything. They just going off their feelings and what they think. But Darash, you said something earlier, right? You said about the money making and the artists who have a positive message, they get shelved. Right. I want to play a clip really quickly. And see, a lot of people forget about these things. Kanye was stating about who gets paid for the violent content that is released by black people. Well, let's just be honest. Yeah, we know the artists may get a 200,000, 300, maybe a million. You have your few sporadic artists that be, multimillionaires, whatever. But at the top of the food chain, let's not get mad about what's going on. Let's just go and look at it and see who owns it. That's all we have to do. Who owns it? Now, I'm about to play this clip, and this is on the Breakfast Club, right? So I think it just fits in right here so perfectly. And Terry, I'm gonna come right back to you. This fits in here, right? It fits in like extremely perfect because watch what this is. Lior, I like to call him liar. Lior Cohen stated on the Breakfast Club, and just listen to the questions that Charlemagne asked, and listen to what is clear hypocrisy, and also remember who he is. Is he the same person that Kanye was talking about? And he's the same person setting this up and benefiting from it. Let's check this out.
But I think it helped change the course of the crack epidemic. I don't know what's this opioid thing, man. Is
But being a
so
crackhead wasn't cool back then. Being a
What?
crackhead wasn't cool. Now they seem like they're making it cool to be drinking lean and syrup and
it's
to
the
be on
most
the pill.
dangerous. It's the
Perks
most
and Molly's
dangerous
and-
thing that's facing our society.
Are you
So why sign an artist that would promote that?
Because I already answered that question. You weren't paying attention. She asked me talent or issues, and I said talent. But I have to. I can't give up on people.
But I'm saying that's hypocritical, though. You're saying the
It's
opioid problem's a problem.
opportunistic.
Yeah.
I got people to feed. I
Leor.
got a business to run.
You're gonna make Dame Dash take this clip and call you a culture vulture.
Who's Dame Dash?
So, with that being said, here you have Lior Cohen stating what he just stated. Okay, all right. Isn't that hypocritical? Well, I got a business to run. I got mouths to feed. So, yeah, I'll take that talent and I'll push it out there and let them, talk about this stuff.
If I may, I'm not gonna lie.
I love that Charlemagne asked that question. He put him on the spot. Like,
yeah.
Hypocritical. Go ahead.
There's two things. One, Lior Cohen is worth about $150 million. So I'm pretty sure his family's not hurting. That's one. Number two,
Right.
let's not act. Here's the thing. You can have the crappiest product on the planet. You get paid and you get views and you get income, residual income, or whatever you want to call it. You gain consumers through your marketing. That's why you have so many horrible artists that are blowing up, because these record labels that have decided to take them on are now marketing them. Let's not act like they're not in control of what people are listening to. They are literally their marketing is going to determine how well these individuals will do. If it's really about that, all you have to do is shift the paradigm. All you have to do is start taking these talented, positive rap artists and market them.
That's it. That's
That simple.
Really, really nothing more to it, honestly. There's really nothing more to it. So, I mean, to me, if you watch that clip and you can't see any hypocrisy in what was just said, and if you listen to now let's be real. Okay, has Kanye said some offensive things? He has.
Absolutely.
He has. I mean, we're not saying that these things were not offensive. These things were extremely offensive. We get it. I just want to know, to my white counterparts, I just want to know, and why is it? Because Kanye also said slavery was a choice, right? And this has been a question that's been floating around. Slavery was a choice. Okay, fine. I just want to know, where was all the, we are the world, let's come together, and cut him off from being a billionaire when he said that. We don't see this. We don't see this in the white community. No one gets as offended when it's talking about us, because as clearly you can see, we talk about killing and murder and, in the music.
It's normal.
It's normal. Well, that's what you people do. You guys should be. But when he said someone is in control of my voice, well, let's be honest. Who's at the top? Who says yes or no to what can and can't be said. If there's no one in control of your voice, then what was stated, whether you agree or disagree, whether you think is right or wrong, what was stated should have been stated, and there should have been no backlash if there was no one. But see, someone is in control of your voice. And since you did state that, guess what? I need 1.6 billion back.
Yep.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And to speak to Darash's point, it just really brings out, it's clear that there's an ulterior motive, because if technically you could take the rappers who speak about unity and positivity, you could take them and market them and still make your billions. Why aren't you doing that unless you're doing it for another reason? And it's obvious when he said that the opioids is one of the biggest issues in our society, but you have no problem promoting that to our community. Why?
No problem. Zero.
I think there's a bigger agenda at hand. There has to be, because Queen Latifah, unity. You think about Arrested Development, positive music. Those things sold. They just stopped releasing those artists. They stopped promoting those artists. It's not that they didn't make a lot of money off of those artists. They're still held in high esteem right now. Well, Queen Latifah, they still did really well as artists. They just stopped bringing in those type of artists and promoting those type of artists.
There's a lot of newer artists that do that as well. There's a number of new artists. One of them that I listen to right now, his name is Simba. Even people like La Russell. It's some of his music is, you know, a little raunchy, but like the majority of his music, it's literally uplifting music. But you don't hear much about these individuals. But you know about the Offsets, you know about Meg, you know about Cardi, you know about I hate that damn song. You Thought I Was Feeling You? That nigga a munch.
I don't know that song.
I don't know her name, but
Ice Spice. That's Ice Spice.
What Glorilla, like all of these, and they're not talented.
The Glorilla,
they don't have the bruh.
I'm just trying to figure out how. First off, why Glorilla? Secondly, how you
name is
go
Gloria.
from? How do you? Who said that was? Who said that was okay, right? But yet, there's a push behind that music. There is a push behind that. And so, again, it goes back to the situation with Takeoff, right? Now, I'm sure, I'm positive that the individuals who were involved in this incident, this situation, this unfortunate situation of a young man losing his life, I'm sure the influence was there from the music.
Absolutely.
I'm sure the influence was there.
Without question.
And so that's what we think.
I feel like you kind of see, even going back, 10 years, the steady decline in the quality and the substance of the music. It's almost like they allow a little bit at a time to not like shock the public, but they do it real slowly to where now you look up and music is disgusting. Now, whereas 20 years ago, they could have never released the songs that we hear today. They did it intentionally. But at the same time, I also kind of hold us accountable as well, because that is what a lot of us like, and that's what a lot of us listen to, and that's what a lot of us are looking for. I've even heard when Kendrick came out with more positive music, we're like, don't nobody want to hear that. It's too positive. I want to hear about, like, I've seen it on Twitter. I want to hear about drugs and gangs. And
that
it's
was
like, are y'all
literally
serious?
the feedback. That was the feedback of his
was
last
positive.
project. I was like, y'all mad at this man for? It's so crazy because I'm no longer a Kendrick fan for other reasons, but I can appreciate great art. Y'all mad at this man? This man just gave you his life, his struggles in a poetic form, and it was too much for y'all. It wasn't enough killing. It wasn't enough drugs. It wasn't ignorant enough for you guys.
It's too uplifting.
It was like.
Let me ask you this.
That blew my mind.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that comes from a form of conditioning?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Now, that's not an excuse, though. I don't think it. I do think the Black community has been conditioned to a certain type of mindset. It's not an excuse to continue on with that mindset, because when you get to a certain level, a certain age, a certain maturity level, certain educational level. You need to further educate yourself in what's right, what's better, how to educate those that come behind you, better than what you were educated. But I hate the fact that, certain people, they try and make it seem like it's one-sided, the backlash. I'm referring to it as that. The backlash is going on, right? They're trying to make it seem like it's one-sided. And again, I'm going to keep beating this dead horse. Can we not now see the facts that this man was speaking when he was stating that, and back to Roland Martin, as I started off earlier, oh, well, according to Roland, you said you could make anti-Semitic remarks in Adidas. They dropped your ass, is what he stated. No, Roland, you must have only watched a small snippet of what he was saying, because he was not talking about the Jewish community. He was talking about his own community, because he believed that there's a substantial amount of evidence that showed that we are also Semitic. We're not saying that they're not. We're just saying that we are as well. And so what happens
let's
is...
be honest, though. Let's be honest. Everyone who has commented on the things that Kanye said are all playing dumb. It amazes me
without doubt.
It amazes me how many people don't understand what he's saying all of a sudden.
They're going with the narrative.
Charlemagne did it. Roland has done it. Who was I was just watching?
They money.
Just watching.
Well, you said Charlemagne did it. Here's the problem with that, though. There's a clip of Charlemagne actually stating the same thing. I mean, I'll probably bring that on the next show. There's also a clip of Charlemagne stating the same. Ice Cube, all of a sudden now, he's backtracking when he
backpedaled on it.
Playing stupid.
And you know what this does? Like, we have, and it's going to be a lot of people who are not of the black community, and some that are of the black community who don't want to hear this. But since the plantation, when your strongest Negro stands up, well, we're going to whip him. And we're going to beat him in front of everybody. And we're going to beat him bad. And all the ones who want to be bad and strong with you, you know what they're going to start doing? That backpedal.
Bowing down.
And that's what we see
to make you fold.
When they see, 1.6 billion? They just took over $1.5 billion from this guy? Nah, man. I don't know why my name being brought up in this, because no, you've been saying this for years. All of a sudden, you don't want to say anything no more? Why?
I'm surprised people aren't insulted, because they're really insulting our intelligence on top of proving his point. Like, you are taking $1.6 billion from him in a blink of an eye just shows just how right he was. But so many people are missing it.
So, and what it really boils down to, Tierra, is the fact that this community versus this community, and my community, I want to see it my way. Your community, you want to see it your way. But no one's really stopping to go and research and look at the evidence, look at the history. Again, this is the first time in history that it is a crime to tell the truth about history. There are books like several books, Babylon and Timbuktu, right? It talks about a migration of a certain group of Semitic people. Again, I want to put this out.
Hebrewisms of West Africa too.
That is several books. The Jew, a Negro. Books that are written by white males, white men, and white women. So we don't have to say we're making this up. What's the excuse when you see it? I didn't make it up. You say this, right? And I love to use Cornelius Tacitus as an example. I love to use Josephus, the Jewish historian, as examples, because they all state the same thing that Kanye literally stated. We're not saying, or he's not saying, you're not Semitic. He's just saying that he is Semitic. And so to continue to talk about or continue to say the things that was said in music, things that led to the taking of a young life, as we heard this morning with Takeoff, to continue to say those type of things, that's anti-Semitic. Why don't we just look at the information and see if it's true? If it's not true, let's label him as a nutcase. If there's no information, label him as a nutcase, let's move on. But if it is true, what are you afraid of?
Right.
And
the whole thing is, oh no, go ahead.
I was going to say, and something that I think is a little ironic is people started asking questions.
Right.
with between Kanye and Kyrie coming out and saying what they're saying. Y'all know I have my ear to the Twitter streets. People started asking different questions and bringing up topics, and they're like, wait, the Twitter streets, and they're like, wait, well, this isn't making sense, and they're starting to ask questions like, well, wait, why are y'all doing all this if there is no merit to what he was saying? And right when it was starting to get hot, and I'm not saying it's connected, this happens, and now everybody is focused on what happened last night, and it's taken them away from the conversation and asking the hard questions. Not saying it's connected, I just think that it's a little interesting, the timing of it.
Right. And if you're
big
smart,
distraction.
Right. And if you're smart, you can look and see that even this situation, I'm gonna beat the dead horse. I don't give a damn. Because you can't say it once or twice. You gotta say it several times for people to get it. But and one thing that I noticed happens, it happened with Nick Cannon. I believe it happened with Deshaun Jackson, a football player. It happened with Kanye. What happens a lot is when these individuals look at the history, because there are historical evidences out there that suggest that Black people are Semitic and that they are Black Jews, right? Now, we get it. People in Africa are Africans and they're Black too. But every country in Africa, they're not the same. Tribes, dialects, languages, they're all different. Just because you're the same color doesn't make you the same people. So what happens, though, when people start looking at the history and then they start looking at what was written in books, even during a time where we were still as slaves in this country, as far back as then, books were being written about who these people really are. It was being put out there ever since then. You can go and find these books to this very day. But what happens is when people start to, all right, I'm looking to this. Okay, that makes sense now. They say, hey, let me take you to the Holocaust Museum. Okay. And we're not saying anything, we're not gonna say anything negative about that. Okay, we understand that. But I also understood what Kanye stated as well. I hate the fact, and I'm gonna say it strongly. I hate the fact that you can boldly look me in my eyes and tell me to get over my history and everything bad that happened in my past.
Right.
Well, whenever someone says anything to you, now we must go visit the museums to remember your history.
Right.
But when I bring mine up, I need to get over it. And so when Kanye stated, I'm going to read this quick stat. It's a lot, but I'll read this really quickly. When Kanye stated, I understand about the Holocaust, and he stated that, I'm sorry about that. And I hear what's going on. I hear you. I see you. I understand what happened. Those were his words, right? But he also stated that we also have a Holocaust. The most dangerous place for a Black person is inside of their mother's womb. All right? So I had to dig. I was like, I never really kind of dug into it. So let me look at this up. And I found a very interesting statistic. 14,555 abortions happen for every one person that gets killed by a police officer. 14,000. That comes out to 900 babies, Black babies, being aborted every day. Can you imagine walking outside in your front yard seeing 900 bodies just laying there?
I think we're up to like 50 million Black babies have been aborted.
So when we look at that, so when he says, okay, I understand what you're saying, but, we also have a Holocaust. And our Holocaust is still going.
I'm sorry. And it just clicked in my mind. The crazy part, and again, we're getting into programming and what you're marketing and conditioning the people for. You have, and I don't remember this person's name. You have an individual, it's a young woman that made a song about aborting babies. And not really? it's one thing to say, yeah, I did it. It's another thing to sit there and promote it.
Murder on My Mind, I believe is what it's called. Murder
Is
on
that
My
what it's
Mind.
called?
She was
Yeah.
dancing outside of the Planned Parenthood. Yes, she was.
She was
Man,
twerking
please
outside of the
tell
Planned
me
Parenthood.
y'all
Like this
playing.
is normal. And you can read the comments. Some people were discussing. Some people were like, well, hey, I do it too. I've met many of
Wow.
people that say I've had many of abortions, and it's I'm okay. And it's like,
You're okay.
and they're usually black women, and
They
they're
make
perfectly
cakes.
fine with this.
They throw parties. They make abortion cakes. They have abortion anniversaries. It's gotten bad.
That's wild.
20
But
million.
let me ask you this: when you were in school, because I remember when we were in school, when we were in middle school, how you're transitioning to your adolescence, you're starting to go through puberty. There were women from Planned Parenthood who came to our school and handed us brochures. We want you to know where your local Planned Parenthood is.
And where did you go
And
to
they're
school?
located.
Yeah, they did that. Yep.
Where'd you go to school?
Where did I go to school?
Where'd you go to school?
North Miami.
So in Miami Beach, this major city, they're going to high schools handing out Planned Parenthood brochures.
Yeah, there was one within walking distance of our high school. And our high school and our middle school are across the street from each other. Yes. And they came and promoted.
Since 1973, since Roe v. Wade. 20 million since that point. Right? 20 million. Counting. 14,500. If somebody put this in perspective, police shot someone and killed someone today. Well, at that point, 14,000, according to the statistics, 14,555 abortions had already happened.
Right.
What's interesting about Tasha's point is I went to a suburban white middle school and I transitioned to high school. We didn't have that. They were teaching us how to care for babies and how to do, we had like whole fake babies. They were teaching us how to be mamas already. I've never seen that in the schools that I was going to. And I think the difference is interesting.
Right. It's just like going into the hood. You're going to see the liquor store. You're going to see. We were buying a house, and we were looking around, and we were in an area, and it's kind of one of those areas. Am I in the hood or am I in the regular part? There's a pawn shop. There's a liquor store. We in the hood. We knew it right then and there because it's only in certain areas. And lo and behold, we had crossed over, right? And we were in a certain area, and we could tell by what was there. You don't see those same things in other areas. You're not gonna see a Planned Parenthood, in Beverly Hills somewhere. It's just not gonna happen. It doesn't work that way. It's not designed to work that way. But this is what we're dealing with.
I'm almost positive that the woman from the beginning who actually backed Planned Parenthood made it clear that the reason why was because she wanted to eradicate Black babies. I believe her name was Margaret Sanger.
Margaret Sanger.
Yeah. So it's not like it's a secret. And I won't get into what other organizations her family was a part of, but Planned Parenthood specifically, she said that she wanted to basically exterminate Black children. So he's 100% right. But it's interesting because nobody talks about that quote. I haven't seen that in any headlines. No. Nobody discusses it.
No, actually, the quote that you're talking about they're trying to refute it. Oh no, that was fake. No one. She's never. If once time passes long enough, you can kind of change anything. As you see, you can change anything, right? I was blown away. And I still have to look into this more, right? But from what I understood so far, I was blown away when I learned that the Nazis didn't call themselves Nazis. That was a term that the Fox News or the news stations here created and gave to them. I'm like, whoa. So that famous saying, you tell a lie loud enough and long enough, they will believe it. You could, let's be real. Any one of us ever told a lie? You held on to tell a lie for so long, you have to remember, dang, was that true? Years later, because you don't brainwash yourself.
Maybe once or twice.
Yeah, maybe once or twice. A little bit. But that's what happens, right? That's what happens. You tell a lie long enough and loud enough, or loud enough and long enough, then people will believe it. And we see that. So all these years, I'm thinking, okay, well, Nazis are Nazis. So at that time, when they first got termed or coined Nazis, if you were over there in Germany, if you called them a Nazi, I wonder what they even knew what the hell you were talking about. A what? Nazi? Yeah, that's actually was an American term given to them. That's what they called them. They never referred to themselves as that. But now when you go through that history, they make it seem like, oh, this is their proud name and they held on to. No, people never even dealt with any of that. It's a lot, But again, unfortunate situation, and it's crazy to find out that he wasn't even a part of what was going on as far as the dice game, and this was
He
just
just
a
named
stray
him.
shot.
What they're saying is, and I've seen it multiple times, allegedly, is that Quavo was initially the one in the disagreement, and he was the one that was angry at whoever. And they tried to say that he was accidentally shot by somebody on their side, but they're saying that Quavo was the one who was in a beef or an argument over the dice game, and then it escalated. But again, it hasn't officially been confirmed yet, but that's the words in the Twitter streets.
And this is where we gotta. And to me, this comes in with the brainwashing and the conditioning as well. The hip hop, the glorifying of rap, the glorifying of violence, the anti-Semitic music that we are hearing on a daily basis. Even when we do get money, a few 100,000, a few million, we have enough at that point to leave that area. But you see so many of us may leave, but we'll turn around and come right back. We can't stay away from it. And then, unfortunately, these things happen. These situations, the rapper, you guys know I don't listen to a lot of the rappers nowadays, but the rapper that got killed, I think he was just getting cookies or ice cream or something. And
I think donuts.
Young Dolph.
Young
He's talking
Dolph.
about Young Dolph.
You know, from what I hear, a lot of people were telling him, I think even on that, the show The Drink Champs that Nori was telling me, if I remember this correctly, someone was telling him that, it might be good to, step away from where you live, And when he came back, when you look at these guys where they unfortunately are killed, it's in their own homes, their own neighborhoods.
Their own neighborhood.
Right.
Yep.
Right. Your own neighborhoods. Because you've made it to a point where you can escape, but everybody else is still subject to that conditioning that's going on. You're still subject to this conditioning that's going on.
What it is at least down here, because even like Schoolboy Q, he had an interview and he said that he was like, I finally made it. I forgot which one of his projects it came out. He said, I went back to the hood. I was chilling with the homies in the hood, and he goes, and they was looking at me like, hey bro, why you over here? He said, he looking like, what you mean? He said, bro, you don't need to be over here no more. Like, you could, pull up, check on us every night, but like, you shouldn't be chilling in the hood no more. Like, there's no reason why you over here chilling in the hood.
Unless you're going back to help bring out.
That's
right.
That was their point. And so what happens is with artists, there's two reasons. I promise you, there's two reasons why they go back. One is that's just the life that they're accustomed to, and they don't want to get out of that lifestyle. You have people like Mozzie that's into stuff like that. You have people like Schoolboy for a time, Schoolboy Q
or
for a time.
C Murder. He had
a
glorified apartment in the projects, and he would never leave.
Right. And the other one is a lot of these rappers is what's the word? A lot of these rappers are fraudulent. A lot of them is fake. They're not really from the hood. So now what happens is some of them try to go to the hood to try to make themselves seem official. Like, no, I'm really from these streets. And when you watch, at least in LA, I know this happened in LA, like with the young brother P&B Rock that died, going to a Roscoe's that nobody in LA goes to this Roscoe. I promise you, right hand to God, nobody goes to this Roscoe's. Why the hell he went there? As a rapper, as a known rapper with jewelry on, is beyond me. But a lot of people will come back to the hood or come to the hood to try to make themselves official. Like, yeah, no, I'll be chilling in the set. No, I'll be chilling in the hood. And so those are the two reasons why why this even happens.
Trying to continue to have the street
product,
cred.
Right. And it's a product of the music that they're promoting.
Right.
There is a specific rapper in Atlanta who always claimed to be from a certain neighborhood. So somebody went to this neighborhood and was going around and asking all the dudes about this rapper, and they was like, we ain't never seen him around here. We don't know him. It was so embarrassing, but that's where he claimed.
Soulja Boy?
No, Soulja Boy came to LA, was claiming he was from Paru.
Oh.
And they got at him too. Go ahead, Hava. I'm sorry.
No, that's all. I was just saying that basically a lot of them, they'll, as some people say, they'll fake the funk. Or some of these dudes, they went to high school, they went to college, they graduated, they got their degrees, but then they pretend like they've been in the trenches this whole time. And it's like, that's how you know it's a setup. Or you have some of them who don't do drugs and don't drink, but that's all they'll make music about is doing drugs and drinking, when that's not even the lifestyle that you live.
Right.
Lil Wayne did that. And he said he did it. And he said why.
But here's the thing. You're taking individuals who are not from that lifestyle. And the way you can understand if somebody's from that lifestyle or not is those who are in that lifestyle typically want to get away from it. If you
as
grew
quickly
up
as possible.
poor, you're trying to get away from that. But those who never were a part of that due to the conditioning and the music, they're trying to get into it. It's the opposite.
Because it's
something's
glamorized.
wrong. Yeah, it's glamorized. But it has to be glamorized to make, that our community want to be a part of it. And so if we want to be a part of it, what do we continue to do? Self-destruct, self-inflict wounds, and glamorize it while we're doing it, And when we have situations like what's going on with Kanye, instead of us banding together, because Charleston White made a beautiful point. Man, if we all want to come together and have an economic war, who you think gonna win? If we all just came together and said, I'm gonna snatch my dollars, or we're in the trillions, I'm gonna snatch my dollars, we would shut down shop. But instead of us doing that, we've been conditioned to not come together and not help. And when we don't come together, matter of fact, look at Ice Cube. Now all of a sudden he's pulling away from something he's been saying for years.
Exactly.
So now if we don't come together and start doing these things, now we just stuck. And now everybody turning their back. Oh yeah, well yeah, he cuckoo. And they go about their business.
Yeah, but I think they're turning their backs because they're doing it from an emotional standpoint instead of thinking about it logically. When he wore that shirt, that White Lives Matters, everybody jumped on him too. Mm-hmm. But was he lying?
It's the truth. White lives.
Because look how they treat us.
Yeah, yours do. Ours obviously don't. So, and that's what he was. Again, Ye has to dumb his speech down. Kanye has to dumb his actions down, because if he refuses to dumb certain things down, it's going to go over the head of a lot of people, and they're going to miss the point. Or he has to explain it more thoroughly, that people will get it. And so when like the whole I must say anti-Semitic statements, that whole thing, he wasn't even referring to the Jewish community, but most people thought he was referring to the Jewish community, and he wasn't. He was referring to the black community. How does that even? It just all it takes is a little bit of listening to the point he's making, and as soon as he said it, I understood it. And so again, and matter of fact, just while we're back on that subject, I want to keep saying this repeatedly. Let's stop pretending, and let's stop ignoring the fact that there is information and documentation and witness statements, not by the black community, but by the white community. All right? Mm-hmm. All these things exist in the white community that state what Kanye said was actually factual, or it had some substance or some relevance, right? Relevance. So, as a matter of fact, the Bible, right? The Bible, because a lot of who's the Jewish people, that's based on the Bible, is it not? So let's we're not gonna have a Bible study here, but let's mention a couple things in the Bible real quick, right? And we have to question these things. And this is what people fear. People are offended and they fear the truth, and telling the truth about history is a crime, right? When you look into this Bible, it actually gives you a description. Me as a former police officer, right? If I show up on scene and somebody says, "Hey, I just got robbed," one of the first things I'm going to ask him, besides what happened, how did he look? I need a description. I can't find who we're looking for without a description. Are there cameras around here that I can look and see who I'm looking for? I need a description. So since this is such a big argument, or now it's a big argument, why don't we go in and get a description? Now, if you're an atheist or you don't believe in about whatever, you know, we're not, this ain't a religious conversation. This is more based on history or the story that's being told, right? But in that book, the stories that are being told, guess what it gives you? It gives you an actual description. There's a king of Israel by the name of King Solomon who literally says, I'm black and I'm beautiful. Unless there are black white men now. It's just, unless we exist somewhere, you know. There's other written in the book of Lamentations, which talks about their skin being, or their face being as dark as coal. Things of that nature. There are a lot of descriptions in the Bible that gives you exactly how these people looked. Several. That's like dozens of them, right? Of descriptions. So when you look at that, these descriptions, they come out to what Kanye is actually saying. They come out to that. Now, if you do believe the Bible, and those of you who are not religious people, don't run. We're not turning into a Bible study. I just want you to get the understanding of, because all the who the Jews and who the Jewish are, that's all based on the Bible, right? Whether you're religious or not, whether you believe in it or not, that's what it's based on, right? You know, that's really what it's based on. Well, if you believe in the book, or if you don't believe in the book, there are some words of Jesus Christ in the book, right? And according to his words, the Jews or the Jewish people will go into slavery in every country in the entire world. They're going to be shipped off everywhere into slavery. Here's where Kanye comes in. We only know of this happening to one group of people in all of human history that went into slavery and now they might say, oh, who are the people they surround, not Scottish, they try to say another
Irish?
people, Irish. So, but the difference is, let's just say that part's true. They didn't go into slavery and all over the world though. Even if you want to say they went into America as slaves, but they didn't go all over the world. There's one group of people who went into slavery all over the world. That's the black community. Nobody else did that. So when people like Kanye sit up and say, hey, wait, let me scratch my head. Something's not right here. I just want to start adding 2 + 2 = 4, not 6. 2 + 2 = 4. But see, we're at a point in history where they tell us 2 + 2 = 6 for so long, we all believe it. Nobody stopped to question it.
Yeah.
So now when you step up and say, no, listen, 2 + 2 is really 4. Oh, you give him medicine, right? He's stupid. He's crazy. Now you got to be medicated. And now you're looked at as cuckoo because why? You went back and looked at the actual history, the evidence, the facts. And the history and the evidence, the facts, is not lining up to what we're being told every day. That's all he's doing. Again, if you don't agree, that's fine. We're just asking you to look at the evidence.
And what's interesting is when you read the list of what makes someone anti-Semitic, and you mentioned the Arabs, there's a lot of Arabs, even the ones that be posted at the corner store, who will come out and say that they believe that Black people are the Jews. They've said it. I know that there's plenty of white people have said it. So it's not like it's just a thing that only a couple of us have said. You have these other races and or some of them who are considered to be Semitic who will say it's absolutely you guys. You even have some Jewish people who would say the same thing. They're just in the minority. So it's not made up. They didn't just decide one day, I'm gonna make something up and just tell the world.
Because we are hurt people and we're looking for identity. And well, when the books were being written by white people and they said this, or the other people in different countries around the world that are not in the Black community, when they say this back then and now, is that us looking for an identity? Because it sounds like to me we didn't see it.
Exactly.
Right.
No. So, but I want to read this really quick before we get up out of here. Semitic, of relating to or constituting a subfamily of the Afro-Asiatic language family that includes Hebrew, Aramaic, and Arabic. What more can we say? What more can we say? All right, we're finna get out of here. That's our time. We're going on an hour, 10 minutes. Before we go, I'm gonna let y'all get any last words. Daraj, Tierra, Tasha, and we're gonna close out, man. Thank y'all for joining us. Make sure y'all follow the platform, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Also down below, if you see right here in blue, is subscribe to We the People University platform. It is a platform where I actually teach you about your basic rights laws. And this is very important, very vital. Well over 300,000 people have already subscribed to the platform because they're getting valuable information. Platform's going past, I think we're close to 100 million views at this point. So make sure you subscribe, get the information. The information is very valuable. I get emails all the time of people stating how they won court cases, got out of situations with police officers because they knew their rights. One lady even wrote me and told me that she was invited by the sheriff to come down to the sheriff department for 4 Saturdays